Welcome to Tivoli Provisioning Manager version 5.1.1. The scenario you're about to see is an end-to-end scenario called Solaris Patch Management. In this particular scenario, you're going to see initial configuration, which consists of initial discovery of endpoints. We're going to add the Sun Update connection server and its credentials to the database. We're going to verify the global settings for the Solaris Patch Management, and then we're going to follow by the 5 steps that are usually done, which are step 1, register the Solaris endpoints to communicate with Sun Update connection. We're going to run a scan against those endpoints. We're going to check the compliance against those endpoints. We'll remediate a patch, which includes approving and installing. And finally, we'll rerun compliance against the endpoints and view the software tab of the endpoints to see the patch has been installed. This scenario is best viewed in a resolution of 1280 by 1024. Welcome to Tivoli Provisioning Manager version 5.1.1. In this scenario, Solaris Patch Management, the first step in our initial configuration is to run an initial discovery. From the welcome page, you can see that we have initial discovery. We'll go ahead and click on the link. And I want to run a new discovery, so I'll click on the new discovery button. And this brings me to a 3-page wizard. On the first page, I'm asked to specify an IP and/or a subnetwork. I've gone ahead and already inputted an IP range. In this case, I've selected one machine to discover. I'll click Next. On the second page of the wizard, it's asking me for a set of credentials to use against the endpoints to log in and identify resources that we can discover. In this case, I've pre-populated credentials for the endpoint, and I'll click on Next. On the third page of the wizard is a summary giving you a detailed description of what information you've input in the last 2 pages of the wizard. Once I click Finish, this is going to initiate the discovery. By doing so, it's bringing me back to the initial discovery page. So discovery is complete, and it looks like the IP that we specified is successfully discovered. Let's look at the discovered machines. And there's the machine, the Solaris machine that I asked to discover, and there is the host name. So the second step is to add the Sun Updates connection server to the database. To do so, we'll click on Inventory from the left-hand navigation, choose Manage Inventory, Computers, and on the right-hand side, you're seeing a list of the computers that are known in our database, including the one we just discovered, tgv.torolab.ibm.com. And we'll go up here to the Edit button, and we're going to add a new computer. This being the getupdates1.sun.com machine. So all I need to do here is just add that information. And I'm going to specify to use DHCP. And I'm going to click Next through the other 4 pages of the wizard, since we don't need any of the other information to finish this machine. Once we're done going through these wizard pages, I'm going to click Finish. It's going to add the machine to the database. And once that's done, I am going to click on the Credentials tab, and I'm going to add here an HTTPS credential. So we're going to click on the Edit, Add Service Access Point, and here I'm going to select the type HTTPS. I'm going to apply context called Sun Update Connection, and you can see that the port is already 443. I'll click Save. Now we've added the service access point, and now we should add credentials, the SunSolve account that you use. So I'm going to add the password credential. I'm going to make up a search key. This should be the same as what you will use for the endpoints. The username is, of course, of your SunSolve account, and your password. I'm going to click on Save, and we've added now the password to the account. Finally, we need to verify the global settings in the Tivoli Provisioning Manager product to verify that Solaris Patch Management is set correctly to the sunupdates1.sun.com server that we just added to the database. To do so, we'll go back to our left-hand navigation. We're going to choose System Management Global Settings. And on the right-hand side, we're going to choose the Variables tab. And we're looking for a variable called sun.patchpro.patch.source. And there's the sun.patchpro.patch.source, and we're verifying that it's set to getupdates.1.sun.com. So we've done all the initial configuration steps, and now we can go on to actually registering the Solaris endpoints to communicate with the Sun Update connection. To do so, I've created a favorite task under Task Management. Click Favorite Tasks, and it's called Register Solaris Endpoints. When I click on the actions Run, it's asking me to choose a machine or group of machines to register these endpoints. I'm going to go ahead and display this list by computer. And now I'm going to select the machine that we initially discovered. Click Next. On the third page of the wizard, it's asking me to schedule to run this particular task now or sometime in the future, and if I want to be notified through email when the task begins, when it completes, or if there's any errors. I'm going to schedule to run this now and click Next. I'm shown a summary of the information inputted, and I'm going to click Finish, which is going to execute this task right now. By doing so, it's brought me to the track task page, and it's showing me of all the different tasks that I've done today. And currently at the top is the Solaris endpoints task currently in progress. So our task is complete, and the endpoint has been registered with the Solaris updates connection. And the next step then is to run a scan against the endpoints. To do so, we'll go back to the computer that we're using called TGV. And we're going to its compliance tab at the top here. And to scan and check for compliance, we have a three-step process. In the first step, we need to add the OS patches and updates check. So click on that checkbox. By doing so, it brings the operating system patches and updates check to the list here. The second step is to run a scan. We can run one directly by clicking this button, or we can schedule one for the future. We'll go ahead and run one now. And by doing so, we've initiated a task, which we can view and monitor its progress by clicking on the link here. And you can see that the particular target TGV is currently running a scan, which is in progress. We can monitor details about this particular task by clicking on the logs here. So our task is completed, and our scan is thus completed. And we'll go on to the next step, which is to check compliance against the endpoints. To do so, we'll go back to the compliance tab of the endpoint. And we've done step 1, we've done step 2. And in step 3, we can either run this check now, or we can schedule it for sometime in the future. I'm going to run the check now. And doing so has initiated a task, which we can monitor the progress by clicking on the link. And the task is complete, so the check is done. We'll click back on the target to go back to the compliance page. And what we see now at the bottom here of the list, we see that a scan was run. And since the check has also been run, we notice that this machine is not in compliance. We can click on the actions and recommendations. And this brings me to the issues and recommendations page. And it's listing to me all the different patches that are missing and list of the affected systems. In our case, we have one machine. And at the bottom here, it tells me there are a total of 75 patches that are missing on this particular endpoint. So let's go ahead and choose one of the patches to remediate. Let's go ahead and select the first one, the Java SE 5.0 Update 13 patch. So go ahead and click on the select checkbox. We have to approve the patch, so click on the approve button. Then you can see that the status is changed to approve for this particular patch. I'll select it again, and we can either run this now or schedule it sometime in the future. We'll go ahead and run this. And by doing so, we've initiated another task, and we can monitor the task by clicking on this link. And you can see that we are remediating a certain patch, and it's currently in progress. So our task is completed, and we've remediated this patch. Our last step will be to rerun a compliance check and to look at the software tab of the endpoint to verify that the patch has been installed. So the first thing we can do is go back to the machine. We can click on its software tab, and we can view the list of patches. And you should see now that the patch to Java SE 5.0 is installed on this machine. So we can go back to the compliance tab, and we can rerun the compliance check. This initiates a task which we can monitor, and going back to the target, we can see that we're still not compliant, and that's because we have an additional set of recommendations, those being the 74 other patches needing to be installed. That completes the scenario Solaris Patch Management in Tivoli Provisioning Manager version 5.1.1.